labels off my shit.
Skibidi boppa doo ba da boo. The Come Up TV.
You still been doing that every episode? Or?
Yes, heck
Wow,
yes. It's been a minute. It's been 2 years.
It has been a while, yeah. Hello, I'd like to reintroduce myself to my own YouTube channel. What's going on? I know you guys ain't seen me in a while.
My name is Cappy Swaggerjacker. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Nate Richter.
Hello.
And under the microscope today, Mr. Grand Mason, ADAM22.
Back.
Of No Jumper fame.
I started this YouTube channel and then I abandoned it.
You left it. You left the kids
Not
to
abandoned.
run alone.
I take that back.
That's what we want to talk about.
Let's talk about
what the BMX world wants to know. The rap world already knows. The BMX world wants to know what the fuck has been going on.
Well, you know, really it's TCU TV's fault that I ended up going so hard with No Jumper, because as soon as I started doing BMX interviews and doing a lot of BMX vlogs, then I started to, you know, do vlogs and podcasts that went outside of BMX. The Xavier Wolf one was the first one that really got the ball rolling, and that was still on the BMX channel, and it didn't feel like we were doing anything like outside of BMX because he was like riding with us at that time. But yeah, I know it was just like the opportunities that started to like blossom up and everything from doing the BMX interviews sort of led me in the direction of doing a lot of stuff outside of BMX. And you know, it's been a weird journey. It's definitely been a journey. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's got to be weird because a lot of it obviously wasn't planned. You know, 5 years ago, you didn't think you were going to be in this position doing what you're doing. How did the actual transformation go down?
Well, for a while, people will remember that I was doing the BMX podcast weekly while also really starting to like go hard doing interviews with guys like X and Smoke Perp, all these guys, like as they started to blossom up and the No Jumper channel started to blow up, you know, I was still doing like, you know, weekly interviews with different BMX riders and stuff. I feel like I kind of got demotivated. It was really, honestly, it was like in terms of me not doing BMX podcasts anymore. And I mean, I have done BMX podcasts over the years with a few different people, although that's certainly tapered off. But I mean, it was just me losing interest more than anything, because it felt like, oh, I've done like nearly 100 BMX podcasts, and I've kind of covered a large majority of the people that I wanted to talk to. And then there were certain people that I kind of wanted to talk to that I thought would be good interviews, but they, you know, just weren't going to do the interview for whatever reason. So I don't know. And it was also, a lot of it was just me getting older too, where it's like all of a sudden, you know, I started to come up in 2006, and then, you know, 8-9 years later, I just sort of, you know, to a certain degree, it was just kind of like I was excited to do something that could go outside of BMX, and that was, in some cases, you know, able to go a lot bigger. And I just kind of got addicted to the feeling of just getting a bigger and bigger audience. But I think that the thing that definitely my mistake was just that I didn't necessarily put enough effort into leaving people in charge of the come up to a certain extent, especially in charge of the YouTube. And then, like, obviously that's getting better with Nate and you doing the podcast and Nate doing the vlogs and everything. But yeah, that's definitely my goal with the BMX channel now more than ever, is just to try to like get more people involved who can help keep creating content, because it's obvious to me that the BMX media landscape is maybe not so solid right now.
Yeah, something just happened. The Ride BMX magazine. What was your take on that?
I mean, it's a weird thing to witness, because I spent so many years basically in like direct competition with Ride.
Yeah.
But then I like the past couple of years, I have barely fucking looked at what Ride has been doing or anything. So it's like I'm totally removed from any sort of animosity towards any of them, and not that I ever really had that much animosity, but that like competitive feeling.
Right.
I feel very removed from that. And then to see something so terrible happen to everything they had going on, I mean, I definitely don't get any joy out of it at this point, just because it's like the BMX media world is so small that it's like, you know.
How did you stay on top of it for so long in such a strange industry? Like, what was some of your secrets to success with the come up?
I mean, for a long time, it was just all about, oh, we're going to get these blog posts up, and then we're going to take these blog posts and we're going to put them on Twitter. We're going to put them on MySpace. We're going to put them on BMX message boards or whatever. Then it became Facebook. It became Instagram. It became, and, you know, because I was really like, from day one, I was basically like one of the first people doing, in my opinion, I was the first person doing all these things. Like the whole concept of like taking somebody's banger and putting it on Instagram right away.
Yeah.
That was like a weird thing to develop in BMX, but it eventually became just normal where everybody was just so thirsty to get views and clicks and stuff. And I was definitely at the forefront of pushing that for better or for worse. And you know, just slowly over time seeing everybody else start to like be on the same thing. And then all of a sudden you got people pumping money into Facebook and shit. It's just a lot of that just kind of lost interest to me.
Are there a lot of parallels between the BMX industry and what you're doing now?
So many.
Really?
And I think that's why I'm able to like have so many good relationships with rappers. And like, you know, I had a journalist interviewing me the other day and she's like, you know, you're a 35-year-old white guy. I'm a 35-year-old white woman. And all these rappers want to talk to you. And when I talk to them, it's like I'm pulling fucking teeth. Like, why do these rappers want to talk to you? And the first thing I thought of was just the BMX thing. Because I was like, I think I just get them. Because I've just been around like young dudes trying to do something with their lives. And to me, it's like, if I meet some cool ass rapper that's got a bunch of chains on, I don't really think of him all that different than like meeting some pro rider or whatever. I'm like equally fascinated by like Mark Hoffman working out in front and then going and doing a hop truck driver in front as I am by like most of the rappers. So it's not that different. There's different like cultural norms. You know, in BMX you're not supposed to show off if you have money or anything. Yeah. If you're a rapper, that's all you. That's a very, very important part.
I forgot how chaotic it is. I haven't been here for like a year, and then I came back the other day, and you had two crazy rappers. There was so many guns that were in here, and then you were.
Were they? They weren't taken out.
No,
right?
No, they weren't taken. All for.
I didn't see.
Oh no, all for protection.
Or props.
And then there was
prop guns.
Is that what
they're
it
prop
is?
guns. They're not real guns.
I didn't see any guns.
Yeah, no.
Besides Chris Long's licensed gun, which keeps me safe.
Chris Long will keep everybody safe. What's it been like? Like, what's being on that side of the I don't even know, of the spectrum? I mean, I think for me, because I've obviously watched your career get to this point. I think for me, the big thing was when you were like, sent the group text, like, yeah, Kanye is sending us to his house. For me, I was like, holy shit, that's like next
legendary
level. Like to go from a fucking BMX company owner, website owner to this. What's that transformation been like?
I mean, I never actually met Kanye throughout that whole thing. I just got flown out by the record label
But you
or
went
whatever.
to his house though.
Not his house.
Well,
I went to a farm in Wyoming that they had an event at. It wasn't actually like his house.
Pretty surreal though for you?
I mean, that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy as fuck just because there was so many fucking, you know, just looking at Kim Kardashian and like me and my girlfriend are just standing there staring at her like a couple of idiots. You know, it's like a lot of stuff like that. But you know what's the weird thing to think about is that like I'm thinking about myself a couple of years ago when I started doing No Jumper interviews and how naive I was and how new I was to everything and how everything seemed so excited, and interviewing a bunch of like little SoundCloud rappers that were barely known seemed like the craziest, dopest thing to do. And then I like look at myself now and I just feel so different about it because now I feel like I'm kind of like a jaded, not like really jaded, but I'm like, I've been around the block doing this shit enough times that, you know, it's like when I meet a young rapper right now, like, you know, some 19-year-old rapper or whatever, to him, it's like, oh, bro, you're a legend. I watch your shit all the time. Like, because even me creating like hip hop based content for like a couple years is like, that's probably about the time that they got interested in rap. And then, but that's why I've always like in the rap world now, it's like most of the people that I know really well, it's like largely the next generation of rappers because those are the ones that grew up watching my stuff. So it's like, you know, Redman probably needed an explanation for who I was before he came and did the interview. Ghostface Killah definitely needed an explanation. But like, you know, when I meet Splurge is like, hell yeah, I've been watching your videos. He knows about specific things and stuff. It's like not even a surprise, really. Has
it been wild? Obviously, I'm a conspiracy theorist based, and you always hear these stories. And there have been artists that have talked about it, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, about how the music industry will basically take everything they can from these artists. Have you found any truth to that in terms of, you know, artists, even like Uzi, they're saying that they're locked into these contracts?
Yeah, I'm super interested in what's going on with Uzi's situation in terms of why the label would not want him to put out music when everything he puts out does really well and it's just going to make a bunch of money. I think that his issue is just like contractual shit because he's signed to multiple people at once. I mean, I've definitely seen both sides of the situation in the sense that, like, somebody like Lil Pump, I watched him get signed early on, and yeah, maybe he didn't get as much money as he maybe could have got a couple of years later, which, I mean, he renegotiated his deal and everything. But I would say that signing from Pump's perspective has been amazing they've helped him get way bigger than he ever would have gotten on his own. He's made a shitload of money. He's happy. I've also seen artists who, you know, they sign and then the label basically doesn't know what the fuck to do with them. And I can't blame the label because it's not obvious what you should do with these artists. You know, sometimes like labels sign an artist and they give them, you know, a small amount of money, and they might sign 100 artists for $15,000 each. And then all those artists are on the hook, but they might find one of those artists actually has a career going forward. And it's like all the other ones, what, you got 15 grand, so it's basically nothing. You're going to run through it in a couple months. And then, you know, it's like, for some people it works and for some people it doesn't. And it's really, it's like, the reality though is that I think there's very few artists that would be able to make it on their own that then sign to a label and then that's what fucks shit up. It's like, in reality, the label might have you contractually, but in reality, it's like just a very small percentage of artists are going to make it, period. So it's pretty convenient to blame it on the label. But sometimes the label does fucking blow it. And sometimes the label blows it like intentionally because they don't want to see that artist come up. And there's all kinds of shady shit that goes on. I'm lucky to not really be in it. I'm just observing it more than anything.
That's the side of it that fascinates me, that, you know, they say they pull you in with, say, the 15 grand and then you're on the hook for, like, what would they be on the hook for? Just producing songs?
I mean, basically like X number of albums or X number of, you know, you got to recoup. Like every contract's totally different. Nobody can understand a contract unless you have the lawyer read it for you. It's just, you know, that's a whole world. And I have experience dealing with labels, and like a lot of labels want me to work for them right now, but it's not. I'm more about creating a media company and selling products on top of that and creating businesses on top of running a media company than I am, oh, I'm going to find an artist, I'm going to sign him, and I'm going to follow him around for a couple months and just make sure he's, you know, it's just, that's a whole, I don't know. It's such a long-term thing. I don't think, like, I don't want to manage an artist at all. I've had a lot of opportunities to do that, and it's not big enough for me. I want to do things. That's you. I want to do things that affect the culture, that have big seismic effects.
When you were X's manager, I thought that was it right there. Like, this is it. This is the big thing. He's going to managing this dude. Yeah. How long did that last for?
Not long at all. But the truth is that people really make that into being something bigger than it was, you know, and I kind of allow people to do that because to a certain extent, it's like beneficial, you know, but he knew to a certain extent it was a troll when he told me to say it. Like, he told me to tweet that.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he knew that, because to me, as soon as he said, like, do you want to manage me? I'm like, okay. He's like, tweet it right now. And I'm thinking in my head as an adult, I'm thinking, I don't want to tweet that because that's crazy, and because I'm not your manager until I have management contract, and I'm, you know, as an adult, as a reasonable person, that I want to take time to think about things before I do them. He was like, just tweet it, it'll be fire, it'll go viral. I'm like, all right, I tweet it, boom, it goes crazy. I get a fucking trillion followers from it, etc. And people still ask me about it to this day. I think that was, you know, it just shows like what level he was thinking on. He knew that would do something for me. But the truth is that if I wanted to have been a good manager to him, I would have fucking gone down to Florida. I would have visited him in prison every day. The dude who eventually signed him, Orlando, it was because he fucking went down and like, you know, he knew the game, and he was already working with Kodak in that same prison. So then he fucking signed X, who was in literally the same prison, which is probably really convenient. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, even with X, it's like, I can't be a babysitter. Like, I can't go and fucking make sure that somebody's staying in line. That never really felt like my personality. Honestly, I got enough of that with Stevie and Began and fucking Craig and Charlie. All those, like, you know, I did enough managing in that role that I'm like quite confident that I don't really want to be a manager any more than I have to. I really have employees now who manage my employees for me so that I don't have to deal with.
They definitely make your life much easier.
Like, Adam's destiny is to be bigger than a manager for sure.
I just don't. And managing is a small play too. There's way less money in it than you'd think.
When is the last time you got on your bicycle?
We did a street ride a couple of months ago, and I went out.
Months ago.
Yeah, and
you got a clip.
I did a little. I did a downside ice over a channel. I'd say the channel was about 12 inches long and about 2 feet off the ground.
It counts.
They make pegs bigger than I remembered already. Well, the pegs got like a 1/4 inch long.
That's Nate Richter. They're the cheater pegs.
Those are your signature peg?
Yeah, Stranger Zia pegs.
Holy shit, I had no idea.
What was like the big reason for you like not riding anymore? Was it your back, right?
Yeah, primarily. What's that, man? Yeah, I would say my back was definitely the primary thing for me, just in the sense that, like, you know, it was like I never wanted to stop riding. Like realistically, right now, I'd love to just be able to like go and ride a flat ledge and get a fucking stupid Instagram clip and just be able to do something, you know. But I just don't. Like my back has always been my issue, and then over time, it just kept getting worse and worse. And like realistically, right now, if I went and did like a feeble Smith 180, oh my god, I could probably do it without it hurting that bad, but it's just gonna fuck my back up so bad after. And it just started to get to the point too where like time-wise, like today, for instance, it's like it's really hard for me to imagine like where I would have fit BMX into my day because I just don't. I like schedule my shit so that I don't have any time to chill, and I'm just have lots of time to like just get shit done. I feel like I read a quote from Mike Arnold back in the day where he was like talking about riding and he was talking about working, and he was just like, you know, when you're young, it's like riding is it, and then at a certain point, it just feels like it's time to get to work. And I like did not understand it at all at that point. And I feel like more than anything, that's what rips people away from BMX over time is that they start to get that feeling of wanting to be super productive, and like going out riding for 8 hours in a day is like you could get some shit done. You could get some clips, you could film other people's clips, you could do whatever, and you could have fun most importantly. But it's like, you know, to go out and ride BMX all day, you have to be willing to just be out there doing it. Yeah. You don't have a fucking choice in like where you're going exactly. You have to be just as happy to sit there for 2 hours watching your friend try something as like you going in yourself. And when I think about where I'm at now, it's like kind of hard for me to imagine like being on that lax of a schedule. Maybe
we could just get you into the skate park. We can turn you into a skate park rider.
I mean, now I'm a kendama rider.
When you're driving down the road and stuff, do you still kind of like look the world as a bike rider? Like, oh, look at that fucking spot.
100%.
Can you explain that to the people that the BMX site is?
I mean, it's just like, and I don't even notice when I'm doing it either. The other day, I was with my girl and a couple of people, and we were like at we were outside of like a stadium or something, and I was just like standing at the top of the stairs, just. There was like a rail, and then there was like a big weird like curved ledge after the rail, and I'm just like standing there like just looking at like the fact that you could hop over the rail and grind this ledge, but it was like a really weird setup, and like my girl was just looking at me. She's just like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And I was like, "Oh." But I can't even like. It's hard for me to even explain BMX shit to her because she doesn't really know that side of me, you know. So it's like to her. Like, what am I going to say? Are you going to come back and do something on this? No, absolutely not.
That would be kind of weird to see you just staring at a rail.
But I have a lot of things like that, too, where I notice graffiti everywhere I go. Like, if there's a bunch of trains with fire graffiti on it going by on the highway, I'm, like, on the verge of getting in an accident because that's something I'm that interested in. But no, like, it's been 20 years since I did graffiti. Huh. Yeah.
Just never leaves you, I guess.
It is. It's like that because, like, once you start to witness parts of society in ways of like utilizing that stuff in ways other than how it's meant to be used, it's just
you think if your back was perfect you'd still be riding at least a little bit?
Yeah, man. Although to be honest, I just felt like a fucking fish out of water when I was riding at that jam, in the sense that like I don't know, I feel like if you don't ride for long enough, your body just starts to feel like a person on a bike and not like, you know, like when you really are used to riding, like even if you just go ride once or twice a week, like you have that mind connection with your bike.
Right.
And mine is just gone at this point. Like it just don't. I mean, I could do the easiest stuff that I used to do. I could do a feeble 180 both ways. I could probably do like, you know, some Smith grind. Like I ride flat ledges, which is like that's literally all I could do before. Anyway, no, the chinks. Pause. No racist. The downside ice stuff.
Downside ice.
Right. It's hard for some people to understand that. That stuff. That is such a weird contortion of your body that's like the hardest thing for me to probably.
I was actually in Long Beach yesterday, and there's that. It's over by Salute, and it was like the weird little bank on the corner that goes to the curb. And I was like, has anyone done anything on this? They're like,
Adam
22.
Yeah, 22.
Who said it though?
Maloof.
Wow, that's so cool.
Shout out Maloof.
Shout out Maloof. Are you talking about across from Portfolio, the coffee shop?
Yep.
Nice. I'm about to go to Australia with Maloof for 2 weeks.
Are you excited about that? You never been there, huh?
No, I've never been. I'm very excited.
It's very racist.
Is it really?
It's very racist.
Against the Aborigines?
Yeah, dude. Wow. It's so gnarly. Like, and it would be like somebody being racist towards a Native American here, like overly racist, where you're like, fuck that person. What the fuck are they doing in the parking lot?
Really?
It's like, bro.
Yeah, but I feel like
from here.
You go to Australia and you hang out with a bunch of fucking park kids who have their sleeves cut off and shit. I'm going there to go to like music festivals and like We're doing these pop-up shops, stuff like that. I feel like
you're gonna see so many. You are gonna see so many white people with dreadlocks.
You go to Australia, you immediately go to the nearest clan rally, like.
Well,
or the equivalent of what
we will have a meeting when we get back, and I want to see what you think. You're gonna have so much.
I want to get a racism report.
You're gonna have so much anger with the marijuana there as well.
Oh yeah. No, I believe it too because I like some rappers I know were there recently, and I seen them tweeting about not being able to get weed, and I'm like, well, if they can't get weed, then
how the fuck am I?
But I get
BMX.
I got all these DMs from people offering to.
See, that's how it was too, and every new city we would go to, they'd be like, "This is the fire," and you'd look at it and. It looked like the fire, and then you opened it up, and it's just moist and bad.
Really?
So I'm excited. You're got way more connections.
There's no way that it's going to be as bad as what the weed was like in Argentina. That's all I gotta say.
Oh God,
the Argentina weed was. I'm still talking about it. God. I still get mad when people are like, "Oh yeah, I had these nugs one time." They were like, "Nah." I'm like, "No, we're not talking about nugs. We're talking about dirt."
What's the offense there too for that? They like chop off your hand or something for having weed in Argentina?
I think it was pretty chill. I think you could just smoke a spliff out there.
The shittiest weed going to prison for.
What kind of weed do you smoke? What kind of weed do you like?
Bearwoods. Shout out to my boys over at Bearwoods.
Shout out to Bearwoods.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific strain of weed you like?
The ones they give me, I would say, are the ones that I usually
are
end
you
up
an
smoking.
indica guy, a hybrid guy?
I'm an indica guy. Yeah, it's full wrapper weed.
Have you been into any dispensaries since, like, I know rappers just drop off pounds for you, but have you ever been into, like, since it's been recreational, have you been into a dispensary here?
I've been to a couple dispensaries in my life, but
I know,
not like a legal one.
Post-rec is insane.
No, I have not been to a legal one.
Yeah, you got to go check that out.
Oh, actually, no. I went to the Bearwoods one in Palm Springs.
Oh, I saw that they were there.
I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking about.
No, you need to go to like a proper.
I've been to a couple of dispensaries, but for the most part, I don't ever have to do that. So I don't really know what it's like to go buy weed.
You're like Oprah. She doesn't know what it's like to buy a loaf of bread.
I know.
You've reached that point in your life where dudes just drop off pounds for you.
Well, that's one of my favorite things that happens online is when you see like, a celebrity and they're like, oh, like. So he goes to the store and he buys a banana. So he gives them the $10. He buys his banana, and like you're like, you think a banana costs $10? Because that is
that's like the Oprah thing.
If you've been famous for like 20 years and super rich,
why would you? A banana's $10.
I mean, to an extent, I could tell you how much a gram costs and stuff, but I don't know how much like a gram is being sold for at the store.
Could you eye up a gram?
Yes.
What's the highest you've ever been in your entire life?
Why is Lil Pump FaceTiming me? This might be good. What up?
Adam.
What's cracking, bro?
Uncle Adam, what you doing, cuz?
Doing a podcast with my ugly
What's
ass
up,
homies.
Pump?
What up?
What you on?
Shit, niggas chilling. What we doing, man?
Let's do an interview tomorrow.
Ooh.
Shit, pull up to my crib right now and let's do it.
I always want Adam to go.
I don't got a filmer, but I'm going to hit up Chris and see where he's at.
Little Pump podcast coming.
All right.
I'm down. I'll be there in like an hour.
All right, bet.
Fire. All right, appreciate you.
And there you go.
That's the life of
that could be legendary. Let me find out where Long is at.
That's funny because I know that's been a long time in the making as well, getting the Pump interview. You guys have tried it a couple times.
Yeah.
And it hasn't worked out.
Hold on, let me just text Chris.
Do
where
what you
at?
want to do.
Pump wants to...
I'm coming.
I tried to write. I tried to write Pump once and then autocorrected to Pump Santas.
Chris Long's probably at Juice WRLD's house. Him and Juice WRLD like playing tennis or something
it's
together.
It's come such a long way from the TCU TV. He's going to Little Pump's house.
A lot has changed. Yeah, it's weird.
A long has changed.
Long has changed for sure. No, but Chris Long just got offered to go on like a 2-month tour with Juice WRLD. And he said no because he would lose his mind.
Yeah, he can't lead the
new Robin Big
for that long.
Yeah, Robin Big, but the colors have been reversed.
Yeah,
you got the smaller black guy and the larger white guy. Yeah.
Who's been your favorite interview? Looking back,
definitely you. Probably Nate. Yeah. Well, I guess I never actually did like full interviews with you guys.
What BMX
we were always supposed to.
We always wanted to do it. That's so funny. Like we were gonna no jumper each other before no jumper was no jumper.
Right. Well, I mean, you just you're in the closet and you didn't want me to expose all your secrets. You have like a Ted Bundy-esque past, I believe.
You didn't want the world to know that you're used to be the third best jiu-jitsuist in Long Beach in 2009 and 2010.
Steven
at the Pike.
Is Steven here?
Yes, I believe so. Steven? Yeah. Oh, no.
He's not. He left?
Well, I have my camera.
You do?
That helps. Yeah.
Can you talk to Chris?
Yeah, let me see what's
I love this. So this is how it goes down. This is the life. It's a matter of time before. Does Rihanna ever do this with you?
Well, I mean, with Pump, I texted him this morning because I saw that he did sneaker shopping.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
did that. So I was just like, fuck, if Pump's doing sneaker shopping, that means he's in media mode. And his album comes out Thursday night. So I'm like, oh, fuck, if I could just like hit Pump up, maybe now is a good time to try to get him to do some like a little interview or something. Because, okay, one day I'm here and I'm interviewing this rapper from LA, Aston Matthews.
Yep.
Awesome dude, really cool guy, very respectable guy, not the most famous guy, but I'm doing the interview with him, and then Pump just pops around the corner. What up, Adam? Says hi real quick. And then, but I like kind of shut it down real quick because I wanted to get right back to doing the interview because I felt like it would be disrespectful for me to fuck this guy's interview up or whatever. And then all of a sudden, afterwards, I'm like talking to Pump's dude, and Pump's dude is like, "You don't even want to do the interview right there." He's like, "You fucked up," and I was just like, "Damn!" Like that's a tough choice between.
Yeah, you can't.
Do you want to disrespect somebody that you are friends with to just get really good content? So I am glad I handled that way, but yeah.
So how about some of the stresses that you've incurred? Obviously, you've got security here now. I keep seeing that people keep falling for this email scam. Like, there's a whole different level to stress and shit that shouldn't be happening in your life that is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, BMX has prepared me for all that. I feel like it's been a good... BMX was the best education that I could imagine for life. In a sense, in that like it basically taught me how to be like a person who wants to like accomplish stuff. And then also like even when you look at like running the come up, it's like I got to learn a lot of lessons and like really learn how to run a business through TCU. And then all of a sudden, boom, I just pivot and switch over to No Jumper. And like people are always shocked on like how I was able to sort of work out so good over the past couple of years. And I'm like, man, I had like a crazy learning curve from doing all this shit in BMX before I kind of switched over.
What plans for the future do you have with No Jumper this year?
I mean, the biggest plan for sure, besides selling $50 sodas, is just trying to make it. How much was that?
This was $6.
That was a $6 one. Okay. To try to just like build something that goes beyond just me, you know, because it's like No Jumper is a good YouTube channel with like just me sitting here interviewing people, blah, blah, blah. But I want to just like, you know, we do the vlogs, we do, you know, we have the exposed like green screen type interviews. I'm just trying to like build more on top of it and just make it better. And ideally like bring on additional hosts and create like so that there'll be a level of content that's being produced that is popular, that my fans like, that doesn't necessarily depend on me being there for every second of it, because then I'll feel like I've actually created something that like can go beyond myself. That's like probably my biggest goal, to be honest. And then also like, I don't know, there's just so many opportunities. Like we're doing a bunch of stuff on some shit and like the weed side of things, which I'm like crazy excited about, just from like a business perspective of just like, oh fuck, like, because being at the point now, to be honest, where I kind of got money to the point where I can just invest in things that don't have anything to do with anything else, where it's like, oh, if somebody wants to like, I don't know, like I recently had somebody talking to me about a business opportunity that was like, oh, do you want to like invest $250,000 in this business? And I ultimately decided no, but I was like so hyped that I was like, dude, I could like be part of a business like as an investor that I don't have to like, because every business I've ever been a part of is basically just me.
And the hustling.
You know, and it's like I have to work my ass off and stuff. So the idea that I could like invest in a company or something or do something bigger than myself, like even just like having the fucking soda thing going crazy out front has been pretty incredible. And I don't know, it's like I love doing the merch side of things. I love when we like, because on the No Jumper side of things, honestly, it's like we could put out a No Jumper shirt or like a No Jumper like shirt and hoodie thing and sell like, you know, a couple hundred in the first few days, or sometimes we'll put out a design and just fucking smash it and sell like a couple thousand in the first few days. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like just as addictive as making YouTube videos and stuff for me. But then also like think about it, like we got on some shit in Zoomies.
That's crazy.
We got Zoomies like down to do shit BMX related, and that means a lot to me too. Is just like we're kind of like, because of No Jumper getting so much bigger and like me just having more control and stuff, is like now we can sort of like go back to the come up and on some shit and be like, all right, like these brands can be put into different positions now and like be able to do things that are bigger. I'm hyped about the idea of you guys taking over TCU and stuff, because I think that ultimately, you know, just TCU needs to continue to live on. Like, oh, and we were talking about Rob before, and it's kind of weird because it's like, on one hand, I was in such direct competition with them for so long. But on the other hand, it's like there are just so few people doing like BMX media stuff that it's like, I don't know, just to see that happen. But a lot of what I used to say was always like, you don't want to support a BMX company that is like owned by a big corporation because you never really know what, like, you don't want the ownership of these fucking brands to be in the hands of these companies. And like we saw with Ride UK, Ride UK, boom, the publisher gets bought out, everybody's gone, it's over. You see it, and you see it with Ride too. It's like those dudes, you know, they fucking really, in my opinion, like don't seem like they give a fuck about anything besides just creating BMX related content and the whole future of the brand, everything they built up in terms of social media, in terms of brand name, blah, blah, blah. The idea that it could just be gone like that, that's like scary shit right there.
But I think that's also the scary thing about the BMX industry, where it changes so much that if you don't keep up on it and you don't keep up to speed with the newest riders and newest tricks, you're going to be out of the loop and you're going to get left in the dust. And I think that's what happened to BMX Plus. And not that what happened to Ride BMX, but...
Man, when you think about BMX Plus, how the fuck did that last for so many years?
Was that a corporation one too?
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was Torque. It was High Torque.
It was a dude who owned like a bunch of different stuff, and wasn't he hella Christian? So that, remember, you couldn't have the Metal Bikes logo in the.
Maybe he might know that more than I would.
In fucking. Am I tripping? In the BMX Plus, they had to censor out the fucking Metal
Bikes logo.
It was definitely,
and I know because I think BMX Plus was one that was available in like school libraries, so you couldn't have. I think
they had
anything.
a super Christian owner too, but I might be wrong. But
that might be.
I don't know. I mean, that's all I'm saying is just that like the era of independent BMX media has certainly been forced upon the BMX world because there's just been so much fucked up things that have happened in media as a whole with all these fucking, like, I mean, it's obviously not exclusive to BMX. It's like absolutely terrible things like Trans World Motocross. They got fucked in this whole ordeal too. And I believe they were way bigger than Ride BMX. I mean, it's just a lot of bad stuff happening. But that, I mean, honestly, that's the thing that I'm concerned about too, is that it's just, I hope that BMX still has like kids who want to create content and want to do stuff, whether it's filming videos or taking photos or doing whatever. And then I think as the come up, it's like, because it is so easy for kids to go out and do those things now, that it's like you have to just try to be as seamless as possible with helping them to be able to promote what they're trying to do. Like let's be real, no BMX website really has a budget for BMX photography at this point. It just doesn't exist. Vital's not doing it. I don't know. Maybe Dig or something will give you a little bit of money for like a photo gallery. But it's like, if kids want to do photography, then I mean, as a BMX website or whatever, I guess you just got to try to like figure out how to open your door to them one way or another and try to be able to support them and try to be able to support young people who want to be creative, whether it's photos or vlogs or whatever. It's like, I guess that's kind of the role of BMX media at this point, is just to enable young creators. Because I don't think the idea of like running a BMX media company as like a legitimate business is necessarily going to really exist going forward. Like, there's no reason for that fucking company that owns Ride BMX now to own Ride BMX. Yeah, it's not going to make them money. It's never going to happen. It's going to lose money the way that they're going to run it.
Is it crazy having budgets that not like in the rap game, just huge budgets, and they come from BMX world? There's like no budgets, so you have money to work with and do shit with. Yeah, man. Because like when you really think about it, it's like I was fighting tooth and nail to get Moeller to give me fucking an extra $200 a month or some shit, and now it's like, I mean, I'm not even gonna get into specifics, but it's like, you know, if I'm gonna do something for a brand in the rap world, it's like, we're not even having a conversation unless it's like $10,000-$20,000 or whatever. So it's like that amount of money barely even exists in BMX. So it's kind of like, but I mean, at the same time, it's like having a BMX media company is important. So it's like, if No Jumper can help support the come up and keep it going, then I mean, that's totally fine by me. I think it's an important mission, and one that I've probably neglected to a certain extent. So
I think it's funny that, especially in the past, you know, so many people criticize you for, oh, you're not doing enough for BMX. And now it's at the point where damn near every rapper in the world has to walk through a BMX shop to get back here to do the interviews.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the idea of being able to be like a cultural reference point for BMX, because BMX has so few of those. Like, you know, there's just not, you know, skateboarding got the Tony Hawk Games. Skateboarding got the 900 Tony Hawk X Games moment. You know, skateboarding got the Rob Dyrdek. It got the fucking Sheckler, all those crazy things. So it's like,
we got the Brandon Began jumping a homeless person.
Exactly.
I so much when people used to say that shit, like, what does Adam fucking do for BMX?
And Adam literally eats, breathes, and still does BMX. Like, you watch all the BMX videos, you know the video parts and all that shit to this day.
We talk BMX every day in the group chat.
He knows. He is BMX.
I actually really think it's funny when people, like, I'll be talking to BMX riders and I'll just start being like, yo, you see this video, you see this clip, this trick, and they're like, holy fuck, like, I don't watch that shit. I'm like, dude, from my perspective, there's not that many dope BMX videos that come out on a regular basis. So if something dope comes out, I'm definitely going to watch it a couple times, you know?
Who's your favorite BMX rider of all time?
I mean, the one, of all time. Well, I was just thinking about Courage Adams in that last section he put out because that was fucked up.
That
like,
big three.
He gets me super hyped. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'm guessing Edwin is your favorite all time.
That's what I was going to say.
Edwin is my favorite all time, and I actually think I forgot to call him back the other day. Holy shit. Edwin is definitely my favorite all time, yeah. And I'll always, like, if somebody's from New York or whatever, a lot of times I'll try to, like, show them, like, an Edwin clip or like, show his Can I Eat section, which I wish was online in better quality because I always want to show people that.
What do you guys gonna do? Another Jumper podcast? You and Edwin?
Me and Edwin?
Yeah.
I mean, he just, like, hits me up here and there. He's been running around.
Remember the last podcast we did?
Oh, my God, bro. Him and fucking Hoder. That was...
Have
If I sat here and watched it right now, also fucking Nastasio. Remember that night?
That was the same night. That was the same night we did Nastasio, and then
that's like, mega underrated.
And he came running back in. Do you remember in the middle of Edwin's? And he's like, "You're the BMX Michael Jackson."
All red in the face and shit. Michael Jackson. You think he meant Michael Jordan?
He called him Michael Jackson. And then he left his wallet at OSS and he went out.
And it took him weeks to get that thing. He was all trying to send somebody back. I mean, that's when Corey Nastasio, just to put it in perspective, he had a Dash radio show and he used to drive up from San Diego every week to do that Dash radio show for like maybe 3 weeks. And I mean, that's like a fucking 5-6 hour drive in the middle of the day sometimes.
He's a savage. He is a savage.
He also had a show on VH1 too. Remember that one?
Nastasio?
Oh, that's right.
He was like him and like Deegan. It was like Extreme Sports Husbands or something weird like that.
Really?
Yeah, he was on there for a minute.
Wow, that's badass. I always have like riders who think that I was a pro.
You are.
Because they just assume that there's no possible way that I would own a BMX shop unless I was like a former BMX pro.
Right.
I think you invented the crook over crook to 180. So
I think I did too. That's about it. I don't think that makes you pro.
That now, dude,
I see people do it now. Like I can't even like remember a specific instance, but I think I might have seen someone do it on like a skate park kink trail. That took
Somebody
me.
did it.
I was killing myself for 2 hours to fucking pull that trick, and then when I finally got it, I felt like I got hit by a fucking Mack truck. Like that was. I
think I might have filmed it. Is that MLK, right?
You didn't film it. Fucking it was Andrew Brady because I was in Chicago at the bakery.
Oh yeah, that bakery contest.
Yeah, but actually, you know what? I think you did film me just doing crook over crook on that flat rail.
Yeah, I knew that.
Fuck that flat rail, by the way. Dude, you could get stuck in that thing so easy.
Dude, Gabe Brooks fucking killed that thing. Did everything possible on it.
Everybody, we used to fucking sit there and ride MLK every day. That was like our morning like gym session. Just go there and just train on the slipperiest, scummiest skate park. Yeah, I used to love that place.
What is a typical day in the life of ADAM22?
Wake up, go to the gym, hopefully, ideally, or just get on my computer and start working. And then, I try to do these like daily like news videos. So a lot of times I have like a little bit of that in the morning. I just like, reposting stuff from social media. I'm always just getting ready for interviews. Like literally today, a big part of my day was watching rap battles with this rapper Daylight and just watching him battle motherfuckers for like 2 hours. I watched his battles because I have to interview him and I just need to
understand.
I need to be able to reference like his style and stuff, and I'm not super familiar with him. And a lot of it, honestly, it's like that. Like at some point tonight, I have to research the fucking CEO of SoundCloud because I have to interview her tomorrow.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And I have to balance that with the fact that I have to go meet up with Lil Pump, whatever that's going to be like.
How easy is it? Because you're obviously the kendama guy. How easy is it to research and kendama at the same time?
Kendama is such a great... I have so many activities that I do while I'm listening to podcasts. Kendama, Tetris.
You're the Tetris guy
Other
too.
video games.
Yeah, I'm literally hooked on kendama. I didn't like it. I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
Even watching your videos, but when you tried a couple times,
I feel like countless BMX riders have had this experience of being like, "That's stupid. I grind handrails. Why the fuck would you want to play with a ball and stick?" And then they start messing with it. And it just is weirdly fun.
I was telling me in Barcelona, it's like they're everywhere. You see a BMX rider, he's got the kendama around his neck.
That's so crazy to me.
Your most viewed like Instagram videos are you naked or in your underwear playing kendama, which is
I
fucking
noticed that.
weird.
I noticed
It
that.
is so weird.
I had if I do a kendama trick on my Instagram, it might get 200,000 views. If I have my shirt off, it might get 1 million.
Jesus.
What is that? Are all my fans
Weirdos.
gay?
Speaking
They're all
of shirts
gay.
off, Sue, God bless her soul, mom,
Sue, Mark Bennett's mom.
your mom.
That's Ann.
Ann, I'm sorry. Sue, I'm confusing. Sue. But does your mom follow you on Twitter? Because you post some, you've been nude on Twitter, and I was always wondering, what does mom and dad think about the pornography and the dick sucking and all that stuff you got going on?
I feel like my mom doesn't know anything bad about me, or if she does, she's very, very good at turning the other cheek.
I mean, like you.
I don't think my mom's looking through my Twitter. Let's just
But
put
I
it that
mean,
way.
if she's following you on Twitter, she's at
She
least
definitely doesn't look at Twitter.
Okay, then yeah.
She looks at
okay.
Instagram. She looks at Facebook, which I don't post on anymore, which is probably a waste.
No, well, the Facebook is one, but I just wondered if the parents get a little fired up when they see you getting naked or smacking girls' butts or the things you and Leonard are doing in clubs.
I mean, I think that my mom at this point, my mom, I think, is just so thankful that I didn't end up like in prison or in any other kind of bad situation, that like she's willing to take some like casual sexual stuff.
Yeah, you're a good kid. You're not.
I mean, she just sees me like with the business and stuff. You know what honestly happened to me the other day was for the first time is that I went to the mall with my parents, which is weird, but that's
Going to the mall.
That's quite often when we do that. We go to the mall because like the mall is near my mom's house and my sister's house, and like the kids love Pokemon, so they want to go to the mall, which works out great for me because I'm also into that. Yes.
Pokemon.
But then I saw my mom and dad there, which was really weird because I'm from fucking New Hampshire. My parents always lived there until a couple months ago. I just saw them there because me and Lena went to the mall before we went to meet up with the kids. And I see my parents there, and we went out to eat. And like, I would say, I'm in the mall for 10 minutes with my parents, and maybe like 3 or 4 people ask me for photos or whatever. Then we go out to eat, and the fucking waitress knows who I am and shit, and she's talking to us, and there's like a couple other people. My parents did not make a big deal out of it for the first time, I think, ever.
Why do you think that is?
They're just used to it at this point. But like, when I was like going back home and stuff, it always just stood out to them so much. But like, having that many people ask me for photos and my mom not act like it was so cool, that was kind of funny. Just to be like, wow, my mom's like jaded. She's
used to this. It's been a couple years.
She goes to a fucking high school basketball game with my dad because they're really into basketball. Floyd Mayweather's there. And Scottie Pippen.
The fuck?
My mom's bringing it up to me. I'm like, Floyd Mayweather's not like a regular famous guy. He's like one of the most famous
in the world.
He's like the most. He's like
Yeah.
the richest athlete, maybe, and he's. Yeah, I was like trying to explain to my mom. I'm like, he's not just like some boxer.
Did you get a selfie with him?
She didn't. She said she was like, he had some muscle with him. I'm like, yeah, he's worth like $1 billion. He better have some muscle.
I seen him on Venice Beach one time. There's literally had 10 security guards that had to be 7 feet tall, and they like circle him so you can't even see who it is. And I'm like, oh shit. And
But don't you love that?
It's fucking crazy. What up?
Don't you love that?
It's crazy.
Dude, I
Isn't
love
that the coolest thing? Wouldn't you love to be living?
Dude.
Like, it probably sucks
It's
so
so
bad. Picture this. This is awful. I've been at parties with Pump, or like he's got like a wall of security around him, and then I'm on the outside, and then people are trying to take pictures with me too. The security's mad confused
Like what?
because they're like, "Who the fuck are you? We're supposed to be protecting this little kid."
Dude, that fame, I don't know
Oh,
if anybody
no.
would like that shit.
How old
Dude,
he's
where I'm at is great. Where Pump is at, you do not want that.
can't go
you want the
anywhere.
money and shit, but like the level of fame he has is like straight oppressive. Like, you just can't do regular shit.
Yeah, you
Like,
can't go anywhere.
I mean, I guess you probably at the end of the day would trade it for all the money, but I mean, it's just I definitely like see the negative side of it. Even like Juice WRLD, like he can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
He's got to stay in the house. He's a fucking security risk everywhere he goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't even imagine.
That's just crazy. to
Especially
see
being that young as well.
They don't know anything. You go from you're a regular guy one day, and then 6 months later, you can't even go anywhere because everybody is freaking out about you so bad.
What's your ideal interview? Who do you want to interview that you've never done?
Well, I was just trying to get Mike Tyson the other day, but I don't think it worked.
That would be sweet.
I don't know. I mean, like, at this point, you know, like I just did like I've done like a lot of the rappers that I wanted to do and stuff. I'm trying to think, like, you know, it'd be cool to have a conversation with just talk rappers who have like personalities, like somebody like Vince Staples would be.
Yeah.
I would love to meet him. You know, somebody like Kendrick or like Drake or J. Cole.
What about a Joe Rogan?
Oh God, yeah, that'd be sick.
Dude,
Yeah.
If you go on Joe Rogan or you get him on here, you have to ask him why he flip-flopped on the moon landing shit. Because he used to be...
He got more educated.
But no, he was like, we
He
never
learned.
went to the moon, or maybe he got paid off by the Illuminati.
I think Joe, honestly, it is weird to hear him talk about the conspiracy stuff because he fully got into it for a few years and then eventually got himself out of it. You don't see a lot of people that get addicted to something and then just like work their way out of it.
That's why I believe that somebody got to him and was like, "Look, your reach is too far. Well, you're planting way too many seeds.
You're
Stop
crazy."
saying no." There's even footage of him saying like, "Look."
But so this says a lot
tell me
about
the
you,
truth.
though, that you default to believing that he was somehow brainwashed by some kind of government agent
Well,
rather
I
than
don't
that
know.
he was
I'm-
just an
I'm
independently
just-
thinking human being who was able to figure out that, yes, we landed on the fucking moon.
I'm
Come on, be
He's the world
serious.
is flat.
I'm
He's a flat
speculating.
worlder.
I'm
Yeah.
speculating.
But think about that. You go towards the extremely unlikely conclusion that Joe Rogan was brainwashed by a government agent rather than the relatively plausible conclusion
I'm not
that he was just
saying
presented with different information and he was like, okay.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's very strange for somebody to say, okay, there's no way we landed on the moon. There's no way. He cites all of his reasons why he believes it, and then a year later he flip-flops and says, you know what? We went to the moon.
Well, but if you figure out that all your previous sources were bullshit, which, spoiler, in this case they are, then it makes sense to me.
Or
Also,
the Illuminati got to your house. Spoiler, which might have happened as well.
You've known me. I've always been anti-conspiracy theory. It just doesn't do a lot
it
for me.
doesn't work for Adam.
But also, I just want to say this, too, is that I appreciate anyone who's down to change their mind publicly because it's very underrated as a skill.
I would
You
love
know?
to. I would love to
Like
do that.
Joe
but-
Rogan, like being willing to be on the side of the conspiracy stuff and then to take a step back and be like, okay, I disagree with my prior conclusions. I mean, that takes a lot of balls to admit you
There's
were
a lot
wrong.
more smarter people on this podcast.
I don't know how many things there are that I've like. I don't talk politics that much, but I don't know if there's that much stuff that I've like said that I believed in on the podcast and then eventually like changed my perspective on. So maybe
You think you'll interview any politicians or anything like that? Get into that world a little bit?
I don't know.
What do you think about what's going on in politics right now? You've
I
always
hate
been you've
everybody.
always been the most American.
I hate Donald Trump
guy.
and I hate all the liberals, so they can all suck my fucking ass. I don't like any of them. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like AOC.
A22
and I
for
don't like
president.
Trump.
Oh,
So
AOC is amazing.
She sucks.
She is so dumb.
She sucks. And
Oh my
she's a
God.
gift. It's like if you were to try to create someone that would make all the Republicans vote for Trump again,
That's it. That's it.
her. That's her.
She is amazing. She literally is dumb as mayonnaise.
It's a bummer. And it really sucks too because there's a lot of people I respect that I see geeking out about her on the timeline and I'm like, you do not want this. Her celebrating Amazon not creating 25,000 jobs in Queens.
Dude.
I'm just like, you foul wench.
Yeah, she's not smart. She's
There's
really not smart.
25,000 dumb fucks in Queens that need jobs, and you're over here fucking, and half of them ride BMX.
Very, very true.
I don't know shit about politics, and that shit sounds not good.
No,
you
I
vote?
mean,
Do you
she's
vote?
just young. She'll be 40 one day, and she'll be smarter, and it'll be.
She was in like a Boston College video or something.
She
like
was
a music
she was
video.
working at a bar a year ago, so she's got
she's
she's
not-
got time to like learn about how
Joe
the
Rogan had
economy
this,
works.
Socialism
Yang?
doesn't work though. That's the crazy thing. Like
Yeah.
it's so funny to stand on a socialist platform when Venezuela is literally burning right now.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, there's like a whole generation. Well, you know what it is? It's the same exact thing as the vaccination shit, where it's like young people right now didn't get to see the horrors of socialism. They didn't get to see the horrors of measles.
Right.
So they're not vaccinating their kids, and they think that everything should be equal, and it's wrong. It's like you might want to. You're gonna have to have a job. Sorry.
Do you vote?
I mean, I voted for fucking Hillary Clinton for some reason.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I voted for Hillary Clinton.
No, I heard you the first time. I'm just
Yeah.
sorry you voted for Hillary Clinton.
I didn't want to do it, but I truly believe that Trump is one of the most terrible human beings to ever walk the face of the earth, and it felt like a necessary conclusion.
I don't know. I think she might be going to jail soon.
Did you vote? You vote?
No, not this last. I voted
Lock
for Obama,
her
and then I was
up.
mad at my life for the last 8 years after that.
Later, Earl.
And then I became a member of the Whig Party.
What's that?
I don't know.
You just wear a
something they
wig?
did.
That's a wig? That wig sucks. You could get a better wig.
I need to get a wig. I'm losing my hair.
Yeah.
Speaking of
weird
wig,
reason.
the hair has come back. I like it.
Little
It's
by
way better
little.
than being than the bald Steve.
I know, like if you're a TCU TV fan, you might have never seen me bald.
Yeah, 'cause
Probably not
everything-
true. But
No, they know
definitely
they
probably
see you
did.
everywhere.
But I mean, like the last TCU TV episode, I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I had hair then too. So.
What episode was that? Does anyone
I don't even know what that was. We'll have to look that up and find that out.
Anyway, all I'm saying is that we just got to find more ways to put BMX in front of kids' eyes because it truly is a great thing, a great culture, a great world. And it's like with the Zoomy shit, it's like that's just another opportunity to put it in front of a bigger audience because it's just so few opportunities that we get to put BMX in front of more eyeballs. And I think during my lifespan as a BMX rider, I was like able to see the times where it was booming and people could afford to have opinions like fuck all these companies getting into BMX, fuck all these little kids getting into BMX, blah, blah, blah. We have to, at this point, be honest about ourselves that we need as many little kids as possible getting into BMX.
Agreed.
And we need to encourage like shit like, people really, we did take the X Games and do tour and all that shit for granted,
Yep.
Yeah.
because all that stuff is just more TV time that's going to turn kids onto it. And it's like, we just I mean, we could take it for granted that also probably all these corporations and shit aren't going to be really that interested in BMX for a long time anyway. But I mean, I just think we got to just grasp onto every opportunity that we have to make BMX look good. Like the whole media world crumbling in BMX is a bad look because it makes the kids who like when I got into BMX, it was like you could go get dig, you could get ride. They made BMX look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not necessarily know that there's a lot of like portals online right now that make BMX look as awesome as Dig and Ride made it at that time, which is, it was a different era, but at the same time, I think that's what we got to shoot for.
But also with the legend Dave Volker in the room,
Which is crazy. I'm very proud of you that you were able to get a good interview like that.
We're here, we're pushing. We're going big now.
I'm impressed.
But the old Eddie Roman video of Ride On where BMX died, and it was one of those things where there was a void there, and if back in the late 80s, early 90s when magazines died, what did the BMX riders do? They made zines. They did their own shit. And now I think, I'm always looking to the future where if the BMX media is going away, maybe that's the incentive. Well, not so much Austin, but that's the incentive for young 12-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids to pick up a video camera and say, shit, there's a spot here for me. I'm gonna get my hustle on. And then you have the next Sauce the Boss.
Sauce the Boss, there you go.
Sauce the Boss is a team manager of Fit.
I know. Times they are changing. Things can just happen real quick.
Did you ever think that? He went from eating a masseuse's ass in China.
Whoa, I forgot about that.
Never forget.
I mean, I think I met Sauce when he was probably 13 or 14. Oh, man, actually, that's I told that story like a million times. But we went to the school in Norco, and I was with Jason Enns and like Sean Moore and Mastroni, and Sauce was there. And it was like so funny and cute to us. We're like, what the fuck? Look at this little kid. He's like filming with a VX.
I remember that photo you took.
Yeah.
The VX, like a blue t-shirt, bald head.
And it was Ethan too.
Yeah.
And he was doing some little dorky line where he was like icing like a little tiny flat rail and then like crank arming like a little 5-stair. But still, we were like, that was so tight because you just never see like a young ass kid with a VX filming on a skateboard. Like that was, and it's kind of crazy to think that those dudes all, not all, but a lot of them are still at it.
I think the whole comic crew is goddamn.
Yeah,
It's
besides
put on.
Francis.
Yeah, besides Francis, they're all put on. That's so sick.
That is good. That's good to see. And we need more like that. And we just need more like more people just presenting BMX in a good light online. We need more. They just need more honestly, more vloggers. Because
You think?
I mean, there's so many different things that you could do in terms of like what a vlog is. I think that there's just kids. We just need more kids who are making BMX videos that make BMX look fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be a vlog, but like I've seen a lot of like vlogging seems to be the way that kids do it most often these days. But we've seen like really interesting takes on what it is to be a vlogger and stuff as well. But I mean, like, okay, the best thing that could happen to BMX right now would be like if the next Jake Paul was a BMX rider.
Okay.
Like the next social media, YouTube star, just so happened to also ride BMX. That alone. Like, remember the Adam LZ wave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that a lot of his fans are necessarily buying BMX stuff now. They're probably into cars and stuff, but I'm sure that Adam LZ shit helped get a ton of kids into riding.
For sure. What advice do you have to any kids out there that are just not even BMX specific, that are just interested in getting in vlogging? What advice would you suggest to them?
I mean, as a person who could barely turn a fucking camera on, I don't really know, but I mean, there's definitely a lot. Like if you just go to YouTube and just search like how to start vlogging or something, I'm sure you're gonna be able to find all kinds of crazy stuff.
There's a vlog about how to vlog like Casey Neistat. There you go.
I mean, you use your phone too, so it's pretty. The fact that you can do it with your phone.
Did you find it hard, 2 years ago, creating your own content where there was no jumper? It was just, this is going to be my day. This is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go.
Yeah, doing no jumper vlogs was always kind of like, well, it was just kind of weird because like at a certain point, it's like, I mean, vlogging, trying to do daily vlogs in general is boring because you just end up doing the same shit.
Right.
And it just gets boring. Like BMX was cool, but I started to have that kind of feeling too, where it's like, am I just going to wake up every day and try to go to the skate park or try to go ride streets so I can make a vlog, like a shitty vlog that I don't even like? Yeah. And that just got kind of demotivating. But also, like, when I think about all those early no jumper interviews that I was like, I wasn't making any money, but I was loving it. And I was so excited about doing it. And they weren't getting that many views, but I could just tell that I was just building something that just felt right. I love that feeling.
And you were learning. Yeah,
and just learning and just trying to get better at doing interviews in general. Now I feel really comfortable on camera, but I still,
What do you feel is your worst interview you've ever done?
I mean, maybe the Bunk one where he had to repeat himself like 5,000 times.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah. All right. But I mean, even then, there's like interviews that never came out that were so fucking ridiculously like.
The Mike Oder.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
Did you have to do it twice?
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. I don't even think we can talk about it.
We could talk about it because he doesn't get fucked up anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. Man, he was fucked up for that interview.
that was the one where he kept
awful.
calling out Jim Selinsky.
Oh,
he was so
yeah.
mad about $5.
He kept calling like a bunch. Yeah, he was calling a lot of people names in that interview. We had to redo it. He was so pissed that he had to redo it too. I forgot about that.
And there was that girl that was in here and she just laid down on the table and he pulled her pants down.
And he grabbed her and pulled her over and he was doing lines off her boobs and shit. That was hilarious.
Oh,
that will never see the light of day.
I got done from her after that, actually.
Jesus.
What? Oh, right.
No comment.
You got anything else you want to ask me? Because I got to go film some stuff a little pump. I just want to encourage the BMX kids out there. Let them know that I didn't forget about them. And we're going to try to... We want to know what they want as well in the
What do
comments.
you guys
Leave it in
want,
the comments.
dude?
What do you guys want?
Let me know.
Let Nate and Catfish know. Who do you want to see them interview? What do you want to see them talk about in general? I'm happy to sit in on some TCU TVs as well if you got any... Well, I mean, honestly, the other day, let's just put this out into the world. Dennis hit me up and said that him and Chad Curley want to do no jumper, so that would be...
There you
That'd
go.
be dope.
That would be fantastic. Just because that became part of my problem with no jumper too, is that there's only so many riders that I really think of as like relevant enough to be on no jumper.
Yeah.
Right.
I always wanted to do Garrett or like Dakota and shit because I feel like they're kind of like the top like street riders. But like a lot of the stuff that like the different old school flatlanders that we interview at TCU TV and stuff is dope, but it's also like 100% you're not going to care about that unless you are a flatlander or a BMX rider, which is kind of the weird thing with no jumper because it's clearly more of a mass audience or clearly more focused on music. So.
But like I said, we're very gracious that you're helping bridge that gap between hip hop and BMX. Like I said, everybody has to walk through the bike shop to get out here.
ADAM22 saves BMX.
There it is. There it is. You want to say
Our BMX will save BMX.
You got any messages for the haters that have always hated you in BMX?
I really don't give a fuck about you.
Look at it, he's wearing Gucci right now. He ain't got nothing to say.
That don't mean shit. I wore this jacket like 10 times. I don't think it counts as Gucci anymore if you wear it 10 times.
The BMX riders have never seen it because they don't watch No Jumper.
You don't think? I'm also wearing like an old ass hoodie that I'm pretty sure I've like worn from the gym before, so it might have a little bit of a funk.
It might have jujitsu stains on it.
I'm about to start doing jujitsu again just to piss you off. Just to make that joke make a little bit more sense.
It was just a funny thing because you were taking jujitsu classes and then everywhere we would go out, you'd be talking to girls and I would just go up to him and say, hey, he's the third best jujitsuist in Long Beach.
I hated you so much for that. But let's be real. It can be intimidating as an adult to go and take classes in something where you literally have to wear a white belt. So I appreciate you making me feel awkward about trying to better myself.
It's all about baby steps. Well, thank you
Thanks,
so
Catfish.
much. We've had a good time. You want to say any last words to anybody?
BMX, I love you. Brian Tunney, suck my dick. Anybody else who doesn't like me, suck my dick. Peace.
Thank you guys for watching TCU TV. Thanks to Mr. Graham Mason. And my name's Catfish. This is my good friend, Nate Richter. Like and subscribe and leave in the comments who you want to see us interview next. We'll see you soon.
Pow!
Peace. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Dudes.